مشاهدينا ولقاء جديد بطلع عليكم فيه عبر شاشة مريم تي في من وانس ا ويك ابيزود. أنا جوال برحب فيكم. بهالمناسبة بيسعدني استضيف مسز أليس كينغسبري برادلي إدي. Good morning.
Good morning, Joelle.
How are you, Mrs. Elias?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here with you.
It's really good, and we are both pleased and honored to have you today with us in Once a Week episode. Finally, we have set for this appointment.
Thank you.
And here we go from this plateau.
All right.
Mrs. Elise Kingsbury Bradley Eddé, you were born, or you are born in the United States of America, and you are originating from Ireland. Irish nationalities or origins?
Irish descent. American of Irish descent.
Okay, how is everything first?
Fine. Everything is beautiful. Lebanon is beautiful.
Yeah. How many languages do you have good command of, or do you speak, as long as we have these multi-national basket of citizenships?
Yes. Now I only speak 4 languages. I used to speak more, but when you don't practice a language, you forget it.
Because it's native language.
Exactly.
And, we need always to practice.
Always practice.
Exactly.
What you learn as a child, those are the languages that you keep with you.
Exactly. Mrs. Elise Eddé is not, or is a unique a woman. What's the secret about being so unique, being so empowered by principles, high ethics, and of course this episode is going to be a key pillar for women to listen to you, to watch you, and learn from you. Please.
Thank you very much. I think I was very fortunate to have parents that taught me good principles in life. They taught me how to be true to myself, how to be true to my family, how to be true to God. All that is very important. Once you learn those basic rules, you can go anywhere in life. You just have to follow those rules, and you can go anywhere. People will accept you wherever you go when they realize, when they understand, when they appreciate that you are a true person.
Exactly. Authenticity and being true is very important.
Very important.
Now we're going to see some photos on the screen with you, Mrs. Eddé, about your great achievements again, about your history dating back to history. نحن ومشاهدينا رح نشوف صور على الشاشة لإنجازات السيدة أليس إدي. Can you tell us please about
this was in 1975 with the wedding. Our wedding, Roger and I got married at Harissa at 8:30 in the morning, and we didn't have many visitors, many guests. It was just the family. Here I was in Venice. I always liked to study history and architecture. Once again, Roger and me visiting Lebanon. This is during war times, and we would always stay together. We would always visit with him.
These are the visits that you were
when we were living.
In the past.
We were living in Europe, and we would
Yes.
come back here, and then we would visit when it was quiet times. This was with personalities in France. We were often invited. And here, once again, in Lebanon, this is at Christmas time, I'm giving gifts to small children. And I was playing Papa Noel.
Wow.
This here
I
is...
say yes for what?
I say yes. This is to take care of yourself. This is to be positive. And this is the positive wellness day of the year. Every day you should be at least one day where there is wellness. Wellness takes you through life. You have to say yes as the first step. It's the first thing you have to tell yourself. And then you find the way to go forward. You have to set the example to your children. You have to set the example to your family. If they don't see that you are strong, they will be weak, and who knows where they will go. So you say yes to yourself, and then you go forward. This is very important.
And some other photos, Mrs. Eddé, we're going to see them on the screen.
I don't recognize this picture.
A donation or...
This was a prize that I received during a conference in, it was in
Appreciation.
Italy. Yes, appreciation, exactly. And this was also with the film festival, because I'm a president of the Beirut International Film Festival, so this was one of these members. This was in Byblos at my shop. I have a shop called Eddé, and I was working with designers who were creating a dress with my fabric, and they danced in the streets of Byblos. It was a very nice event.
Which year?
This was 2 years ago.
Wow, this is amazing. And here we're going to talk, Mrs. Eddé, about this shop. You always believe in the perfect nature, and you only create from nature, out of nothing, out of leaves, out of trees, everything.
Exactly.
What are these touch?
I have always loved the garden. I think this is something that my mother taught me, is to be close to nature, to love the garden. And I decided to create a shop, not an ordinary shop, but a shop that was also close to nature. And actually it was my friend Rabia Kirouz who said to me, don't do a fashion shop like everybody else. Do something that looks like you. You are close to flowers. Bring in the flowers in the shop. And whatever you do should be around nature. And so that's what I do. So I have a fabric that is also based on flowers, and these girls from these designers, they created things from my fabric.
For how long have you been dealing with this?
This shop, I've had it for 4 years, but I have another shop which is about Lebanon called, it's a bookstore called Gibran's Lebanon, which I've had for 12 years. And this is a bookshop in the old souk of Byblos, and it's only about Lebanon. Either the author is Lebanese or the subject is Lebanese, and every ambassador, every foreigner who comes to Lebanon, they always pass through this shop and they find something that appeals to them.
So this bookshop is the great heritage and patrimony of our beloved country, Lebanon.
It's the great heritage of Lebanon.
And how do you find nowadays our Lebanese reading? Are they taking these books, or they are just limited to the smart tools and the Google machines?
No, I think people, they appreciate books, and we have special books for children. The children's books are on the ground floor, so when they walk in, the children see them immediately, and they tell their parents, I want this book. And a parent never refuses a gift to a child.
They still appreciate.
They still appreciate.
They still appreciate.
It's very nice.
About this flower shop, Mrs. Eddé,
yes.
do you think that we as Lebanese, in our capacity as citizens, are we giving this importance, or this high importance to nature, flowers?
I think there is a return to this. There was a time when people were rejecting and were not really appreciating nature. And there is a return to this because they see the dangers of pollution, they see the dangers of the city being totally overbuilt. So there's an interest of leaving the city or of bringing nature back into the city. So it's very important. Everybody was excited, they were thrilled, they were amazed. The dancers are actually students. They're from the Byblos dance school called Asaf. Nadra Asaf, she has this dance school, Sadab dance school. And so these are the first year dancers. And for them it was exciting to dance in the streets. It was very exciting. We chose the music that they could all move to, and it was good. And then the designers came from Creative Space Beirut. They had the theme of, this is the fabric, you do something with it. Each one had to do his own design.
Left fabrics, you mean?
No, it was fabric that I had. It was
Okay.
fabric that I had,
Okay.
and they were free to cut it, chop it, to do whatever they want to do with it. And the dresses were all sold, and they went to the school. So
What was the purpose of organizing such event?
well,
Mrs.
once again, to bring them out of the city, to bring them close to nature, to make them work with something that they're not used to. It was a cotton fabric. It was quite heavy, so it wasn't something that they were used to at all. It's not something that they would teach at a fashion school. It's to make them think differently, to make them open, to make them more creative.
And what do we see here? Oh my God! Do I
This
see
is
right?
This is bees. This was
Yes.
a bee day, and I was at AUB, where there's an apiculture center. And
How would you dare?
if you're the bees, they know if you like them. I'm close to animals,
Oh my God!
and
Okay.
I'm not afraid of animals. So
Okay.
and they feel that. Animals feel that.
They feel that.
They feel that, and they react positively.
Uh-huh.
And this then is once again with the film festival. I've with many people at the film festival, and here we're tasting things, and I like to share everything that we have in our community. I like to share what we have in Byblos with outsiders. When I say outsiders, I also mean people outside of Byblos, because Beirut is already far from Byblos.
Outsiders from Lebanon and foreign
yes,
people. Exactly.
This is Christmas. This is Christmas. This is a child who was so excited about the Christmas lights, and he was very, very pleased to be there. And this, of course, is Eddé Sands, which is my passion. My husband and I developed
It's paradise
Eddé
on
Sands.
earth.
Thank you very much. We developed Eddé Sands in 2003. We wanted to encourage tourists to come back to Byblos, because after the
Exactly.
war, foreigners were afraid to come to Lebanon.
What do you think of tourism industry, Mrs. Eddé, nowadays in
It's
Lebanon?
of course it's slow, because
It's slow.
the surrounding area is not very promising, and so people are afraid. Lebanon, everything is quiet, but people who are outside, they look at the map and they say, "Oh, it's so small, everything is so close.
Exactly.
Maybe danger is close." But when you look what's happening in Paris, I think we're all right in Lebanon.
Exactly. Perfectly true.
Women have been powerful throughout history. We start with Adam and Eve, don't we? And we have Cleopatra, we have Zenobia of Palmyra, we have Queen Elizabeth. We have strong women who throughout history. We have women in the arts. We have painters. We have women chefs.
Soldiers.
Yes.
Officers.
We have women in the army. Exactly. We have women in the army. In fact, we have one of our best employees at Eddé Sands. She went to the army, and they were very lucky to have her.
Wow.
I think that women need to be more courageous and should play more of a role in Lebanon. I think the role of women starts at home. Mothers should teach their sons and their children and their daughters the same. The daughter should not be there just to serve the brother or serve the father. Everybody should help in the home, boys and girls. It's not the boy who should always be the leader. The girl should also be the leader.
Task sharing.
Task sharing, things that you learn when you're a child, they stay with you in life. And this way you can perpetuate this. If women continue these traditional patterns of giving preference to the sons, then they will grow up to be men who take it for granted that they should be the leaders, that they should have everything first.
Who will overwhelm.
They will overwhelm. Women are important. In a family, you have a mother and a father. So you have to have the same in a country, in a government, in a company. You need to have both men and women. There has to be a balance.
Exactly. Balancing between women and men is very important. We're going to see a video about Mrs. Elis Eddé now.
I wish I were with you tonight. Alas, I am in Austria as special guest at the Global Wellness Summit, where I am representing Lebanon and Eddé Sands the only Middle Eastern member of the prestigious healing hotels of the world. Travel has strongly influenced my view of the world and my place in it. My youth took me from America to Germany, to Zurich, to Venice, to Amsterdam, to Paris, to Riyadh, to Giza, Beirut, to Eddé and Byblos. From the age of 12, when I first moved from Washington, D.C. to the Sacré-Cœur in Bonn, Germany, until now, I have never questioned my equal being as a woman in rights, deeds, and the fulfillment of any dream to make the impossible possible. Yet, for all my life adventures, I notice that we women still seem to need to perform at twice the level of men to be equal. Qualities deemed necessary to succeed in life and business are often confused with being unattractive in a woman. So women across different cultures constantly have to navigate a difficult line between gentleness and strength, something not required of men. My confidence in myself and my ability to maintain the balance has grown along the way. And I have realized that the bigger the load, the better I became at rising to the challenge. Today at 70, I have the energy and enthusiasm I had at 28, because I can't stop dreaming, imagineering, and starting up new ventures. It's not greed, wealth, or fame that fuels my energy. It's just a curiosity of the world around me and the people I come across, and ultimately, a desire to lead a meaningful life. Your honorary membership is recognition that this philosophy has a positive impact. So thank you. Alice Eddé. This is something that was, as I said earlier, it was taught to me by my parents, and I have held on to it through easy times, through difficult times, and I like to share it with people around me. I think that when you set the example, it's the best way to lead.
Exactly. Mrs. Elise Eddé, gender equality. You were talking about gender equality. There are no limits for men and women in achieving any target in their life. What do you think of it?
Gender equality is something that has to be worked on more in Lebanon. It was Shal Malik, former ambassador to the United Nations, who created human rights, and it was signed in 1948. Today, Lebanon needs to go back to that. The first woman in Lebanon to be in parliament was in the mid-60s. Mirna Bostani was the first woman in parliament. Women are capable. This year, during the elections, there were many women who ran for the elections. We have Pora Yakubian, who was very good. We have Sedrida Jaja, who is good. We need more women. And when women are in a position in politics, people do not look at their religious background. A woman somehow, she gives more warmth, I think, because she comes from the family. And that's how she looks at her work. So gender equality needs to be worked on, needs to be recognized, and it needs to be pushed by women, not against men, just encouraging more equality.
Parallel.
Yes.
Where should we start from?
We start every day. We start at home. We start at school. We start everywhere in our surroundings.
Do you think men will accept this?
They will in the end. They will see the results. They will in the end. But as I said, mothers have to educate their sons. They have to educate their daughters. Everything starts at home.
Do you think we have enough campaigns raising this awareness among our sons, daughters, and children?
I think that's something very important. There should be more campaigns. Private schools can do it. Universities can do it. And then the members of parliament, the women who can do it. Everybody should feel free and should speak out about this.
What about Charter of Women's Rights?
The Charter of Women's Rights, of human rights, it has to be implemented. The women who are strong, they must not step back. They must continue to go forward, and they must fight for their colleagues. They must fight for the women who are very weak, who are in a perhaps inferior situation. We have a lot of foreign women working here in Lebanon. There are issues, for example, of women married to foreigners who would like to give their nationality to their children. Their children.
children.
Boys and girls, not just the
Exactly,
sons.
exactly.
And so these are things that have to be worked on. You can't give up. You have to continue. You just don't give up.
There is a photo that needs to be in highlight today, and tell us more about it, please.
This was a photo that in New York we received this award for achievement at the international hotel event in New York. So my husband and I were there representing Eddé.
You were always of great support to your husband, Mrs. Eddé.
That's the way I was raised. My mother was support to her husband, to my father, and I'm support to my husband also.
Mrs. Eddé, by the end of our interview, what's your advice for women nowadays, and the now women? What would you like to say?
Women today,
you can look at the camera, please.
Women today should be sure themselves. They should not be afraid. They have to feel confident, and they should leading by example. That is the best way to lead.
Thank you for being with us today in Mariam TV Plateau. Until we meet again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.